Guy though, guys, can we just discuss his awesomeness, the vibes of Davido, and that was Davido with If.
All right. Before that, we had Chidema, falling in love, or fallen or falling, fallen in love, and it is Kofifi FM 97.2. It's where it all began. It is the KYC 2 to 3 o'clock on the dot. No, it's not on the dot, but yeah, alongside there, we have a young man in studio. They call him D Faver, Delmain Faver. Are you well?
Sure. I'm good, man.
Are we treating you all right?
You guys are making me feel at home.
First half, I left you to the lady. Let you just have you for that first section.
And she
Yeah,
me.
but
And I'm just trying to put my hand up. Because before Elias, I just want to ask one last question.
yes, ma'am.
Delmain, we know, well, most of us know that your most popular piece of writing was definitely on Someone You Call Friend, Keegan Doherty, and it was published in Kickoff magazine, which I think is huge. Because what do we know about soccer if it's not from Kickoff magazine? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, how was that? Like, talk me through that experience, because it was a 5-page feature. That is not even columniana. 5 pages, guys, to be literal. So, talk me through that experience and just what have you taken from that?
Well, writing for Kickoff was such an honor for me. Firstly, that was a privilege in itself. I think who better to write about than someone I grew up with?
Definitely.
It's literally writing about a brother, a friend, someone. I don't think there's many people, maybe family knows his struggle more than I do, but I think I'm right up there with the rest of them. So I think that one for me, being an unknown writer, being someone who has no experience, we are called novices. They call us a novice.
Yes.
So being a novice in that field and getting the unique opportunity to write about him, and such a big feature, as you said, that for me was an honor. It wasn't, even if they didn't pay me, even if they said please just do this for free, I would have
Definitely.
you know.
So that's great.
Super. Talking about, growing up, you grew up in Westbury, and it's a township that many knows as very dangerous. Many, and we don't have much of a good perception when it comes out of it. And when we see stories and hear stories about, young men like you, young men like Pinar, young men like a lot of people that come out of Westbury and make something out of their lives. And, going back, because I also grew up in Westbury in the times when it was really, really rough. Like really. Now it's just, it's mild. There are times when you had to be at home at 5 o'clock. So growing up in Westbury, how was that experience?
I always say that growing up in Westbury is the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
Right.
Firstly, because it gives you character.
Nice.
You have the ability to mingle with the lowest of the lows, and then you feel right at home with the highest of the highs.
Definitely.
So it teaches you humility as well. You see people struggle on a daily basis.
Wow.
You know struggle firsthand. And also, like I said, the character that you get from there, you become a fighter natural, not a fighter as in physically fighting, but you fight for what you want, you fight for your goals. And especially because there's so few of us who make it out, or who try to make it out, your character is even strengthened through that.
Now, the journey of you becoming a writer, I know each and every one of us, I didn't know at the age of 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever age, when I was still young, that I'd become who I am today and, continuing in life. When did you find that, Delmain is a writer?
This is crazy, but the 2000 African Cup of Nations, I remember when I picked up my first Kickoff magazine, it was my father's. It had JJ Okocha on the cover. It had Samuel Eto'o on the cover. It had our own Benny McCarthy on the cover.
Yeah.
And I was so drawn to it. I found myself reading it over and over again. So if you had to ask me what was on page 21, I tell you from the headline right down to the last full stop. So ever since then, I've been drawn into it like a magnet, and I've fallen in love. People who know me will tell you that. Even in school, I used to get into a lot of trouble because I was reading Kickoff magazines in my book. The magazine is just a bit smaller than a normal hardcover book, so I would slide it in and pretend to be working, but meanwhile, I was reading, and I feel like that's where my love affair with writing and reading began. Yeah.
All right. Now I know your dad personally, and he's a sportsman, and I've been with him for a couple of years. You know, he's a very very stern person. In your perspective and the influence that he has had on your life, if you would just talk about your relationship with him, how was that?
Wow. Growing up, my dad and I didn't have a close relationship, if I have to be honest with you.
Alright.
We didn't have a close relationship. Firstly, because my dad grew up without parents.
Yeah.
Everything that he knew, he learned in the streets. So he had no background of how to be a father. And as time progressed, when he became saved, because he is a reformed pastor, we all
Yes,
know.
yes.
So after he became saved, he learned how to become how can I say it? He learned how to become affectionate. My
Okay.
father and my
Yes,
father
yes.
my father and myself, we started hugging each other a few years ago.
Alright.
And he's always been there. I'm not saying that he was never there. He's always been there. I always had the backing of my father. Everything that I needed, he was always there.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that he didn't know was how to be a father. And I think we learned that together. I learned
Yes.
how to have a father, and he learned how to be a father,
Wow.
having never had a father himself.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I said, the other day it was his birthday. I wished him. I told him that to so many people, he's so many things. To me, he's my father. To the community, he's a leader.
Yeah.
To the church, he's a pastor. At boxing or wherever, he's a coach.
Yeah.
So to have all of that to myself and to share it with my siblings is so amazing.
I just want to ask, of course, we all know your father, so let me just put this in there as well. Given that you said that obviously him growing up is a total different, is the expected, can we say the expected connotation of growing up in Westbury, and you obviously have a slightly different, if not all the way different. How would you say you guys have come to learn and relate with given your different ways of growing up?
That's such a good question. One thing that my father has made it possible for us is that we don't experience the same life he did. Firstly by ensuring that we got proper education.
Alright.
We went to good schools. I
White
like
schools.
to think
Say,
that
white
no
schools.
we went to white schools, and I'm saying that with all humility.
Yeah.
We went to white schools. My father ensured that even it wasn't even a discussion. We couldn't say where we wanted to go to school. We were told where we're going to school, and he ensured that. And also, my father was never one to tell you how to live.
Yeah.
He lived and then set an example, and then it was easy for us to follow. He was
Alright.
never dictated to us. He never dictated to us. He always guided. He was always there to protect us and to nurture us. But he let us roam
To
freely.
let you be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, before we go on a break, just one more question. When you are out of, writing time, because I think each and every writer gets to that point, when you don't have anything else to write, anything else to think upon or ponder upon, when it is not 12 o'clock, what do you do with your spare time? What do you do to maybe encourage or fuel yourself again to come back to the creative space?
I play football.
Alright.
I love football. When anyone who plays football will tell you that when you're on the field, you forget about your problems. You have no
Yes,
problems on
yes.
the field. As soon as you step off it, you remember that there's so much going on around you. But the moment you're on it, it totally encapsulates you, so
Yeah.
that you forget everything around you. So I do a lot of that. I like watching TV. I spend a lot of time with my girlfriend when I am around. But yeah,
What
I
are some
like
of the
to-
shows you like watching?
I like watching Isibaya. No, I'm an avid Isibaya. I watch Isibaya. I don't
Alright.
miss it. I watch The Queen. I'm a big fan of what the Fergusons are doing. I think they're doing
Definitely.
amazing
Super,
work.
super. I
And
think that's
obviously
a super
football.
couple,
Yeah.
It is a super
So
couple.
if you guys have any questions for Delmain,